Hello all. In today's topic, we're going to see how to model this butterfly stool. We have few reference images for this. Before we start, we need to take into consideration few things here. The first is that the chair has only 4 contact points, which is this and this. This curved area is not touching the ground at all, and the corners are all rounded, and the edge here where there is a contact point between the two seats, these two contact points are completely touching. There is no gap in between, so they are like a straight line touching in this area. To make this, we have few more information about the front and the side view, plus we have a detailed view of where the two bent plywood pieces are connected together. 2 points are here and one is in the middle where a metallic piece, cylindrical object is beaten up in to create this flat circular surface. So let's see how it is done in Rhino. We are in Rhino here, and the first step is to prepare the Rhino file for all the reference images. So here I have taken the reference images and positioned them in a proper layer. The layers are already logged, and you will notice that I have created 2 different sub layers, and in the sub layer we have the each of these segments are been placed individually. And then from the front view, I have created the curves. So we have set of these curves. We have curve 1, which is the middle one, and this curve here, which is going on the side. Since I use the curve, which is this upper curve here, to draw the same, I'm using the wooden piece on this end slightly offset towards the inside. So when I'm making this chair thick, it will offset for that particular thickness. Okay. If you go into perspective view to see the curve layout, I'm going to turn off my image reference layer for the moment. So this is the curve layout we have. So as I was saying before, that this contact point between the 2 wooden pieces are completely straight. Now there are a few ways of modeling this chair. I'm going to show you one using the Loft method, and let's see what we get. We have 1, 2, and 3 curves that are running parallel to each other, and the middle curve is been created from the same curve. Let's say if I go and put this curve on the center using the front view, to go transform project to C plane, so I want to project with delete input to no. So this is the curve that came from the side, and then I took these points with F10, and with this curve F10, I moved these points manually to match with the image reference that we have here. All right, I'm going to delete that new curve. We already have that curve layout. I have also created some vertical, like crisscross curves. I'll show you later how we can do that with a different surfacing method other than Loft. Let's see the Loft first. Before you begin creating these surfaces, let's make sure that our record history is active. This will make sure that when I have the surface there, I can edit my curves, and since the record history will be on, it will eventually affect also your surfaces. So I'm going to go here, click on record history, select these 3 curves, I'm going to select 1, 2, and 3. Going to surface loft. Okay, my record history is on. Loft object is set to tight. Do not simplify, just leave it as it is and click OK. Check if this particular surface is straight or not. To do that, we can simply take this surface and transform mirror and take it from the 0 point and transform it on the other side, and you can see that it covers that completely. Okay, so there is a nice contact point between those two surfaces. So the record history was basically letting us modify the curves. If I go and curve and select this point, as the record history was on, when I'm moving this point, you can see the surface it gets edited along with it. So if it was not touching here correctly, I could select these points and pull those points in and out to create the right straight edge. Okay, so that was the use of record history. So now I'm going to prepare surface. So I'm going to go into perspective view. So let's say the thickness of this plywood, if I go and take my front view, so I'm going to offset this towards the outside. I'm going to go surface, offset surface. So direction is good. I'm going to go solid to yes. Distance, let's say 8. So that's about 8 millimeters, and press enter and enter. Click OK to accept, and this is what we have got. So it creates a really smooth and nice surface. Now we'll notice that the difference between the top surface and the bottom surface is that this one has a lot of ISO curves and this one has very few ISO curves. To manage these ISO curves, as I'm doing that offset surface, apart from choosing solid to yes, we can also choose loose to yes and then press enter. You'll notice that this time it didn't give me as much ISO curves in the geometry. I'm going to turn this reference layer off, select this object. Let's go to transform mirror from center, and I'm going to mirror this, and we have a nice geometry with a straight line going all around. We can also start making the edges rounded. So I'm going to go in here under solid. Let's go to fillet edge. We're going to select these corners and these corners here, and this corner and this corner, and I'm going to fillet this, enter. It has a 1 fillet radius now. So let's say I want to fillet this about 20. I drag that point up to see how much of the fillet I need, so it shows me a number. So if I click here and type 20, it shows me that 20 radius there. So 20 looks good, and I want to apply this 20 on all the selected corners. We go to set all, type in here 20 and press enter, so that rounds those corners on each side. Okay, I'm going to keep my curve layer off. So this is what we have. Once we have the 20 radius, we can now go ahead and make these sharp edges also into a little rounded. So I'm going to go fillet edge again, select all my boundary curves. You can see I have selected all the boundary curves. I could do just one side and mirror it on the other side, so that will probably take less time to fillet. Let's do that. I'm going to delete this piece, select this one only, do a fillet edge, do the fillet edge here, enter. I'm going to make this fillet radius set all back to maybe 0.5. I'm looking here at a very small radius. Okay, maybe 1, set all to 1. 1 also looks good, and press enter, and it will round up the entire sharp corner into this nice round corner fillet. And we can now take this and go to mirror and mirror it again from the center of the grid, and that completes our wooden geometry. Now we're going to I'm going to show you how you can create that connection, that cylindrical object that is beaten up at the surface here. To do that, let's focus on the side view, the right viewport. Okay, if I turn on my reference image, so it shows me that the right viewport has this part. Looks like that I could have done this a little bit of a bigger fillet rather than 20. Now let's see how we connect the cylindrical piece here. Looking at the reference image, it is quite at the bottom here. Not sure if it is exactly this piece, this part. I'm going to make here a cylinder. So we'll go into a circle. Let's say circle. I'm going to add here without any snaps. I'm going to add here a circular shape that is showing us the cylindrical geometry. Let's say this is the tube in the middle, which is something like this. Okay. So there we have that tube geometry. And just scale this slightly smaller. And once we have the circle, it is in the middle of my, you can see it's in the middle of my object. I'm going to go into surface and extrude that on both sides to yes. Extrude that about here. I'm not going all the way crossing it. I'm somewhere, say here, I'm somewhere close to the extreme edge. Let's say about here. Okay, I'm going to select this and make this slightly bit more thin, and then make it slightly longer. I'm just pulling the gizmo here. I'm going to use a simple sphere and add a sphere in this location. This sphere will act like that connector point. I'm going to place that sphere in the right location. So let's place it here on this area, and let's turn off my reference image. Here I'm going to scale this to make it flat, and rotate this so that it looks like it is attached to the wooden piece. Both of these objects, and isolate and work only and focus only on this part. So what is required, that it has a nice and smooth blend between these two geometries. So what I'm going to do here is take a line and create a random line. So I'm going to use, let's say, a straight line to trim this excess part of this tube. And I'm going to take another line and take the excess part of the spherical object. Okay, so this spherical object, maybe take this slightly higher. So use this, trim out this part. So it has created this openings for us. Now to create a surface in between, we're going to use the surface, blend surface, chain edges. We can keep the chain edges to yes, and then choose my first edge. Okay, and then second edge. It gives me that arrow indicating that the directions are equal, so blend surface will work. With that, I'm going to press enter, and it shows me this particular surface. You can pull these to create a slight smoother blend. I can also choose tangency. Curvature was okay. same height, and then you can pull each of them separately so I don't have that much of a overlaying object. Okay, with this I can say okay, and I'm going to attach this, and this together, join, and using the center, I'm going to remove the axis and mirror this on the other side. I'm going to grab this line, let's say starting this line from 0, and then use this line to trim off this axis, and then take this geometry and then transform mirror from the center and mirror it on the other end, and we will join these two geometries together. If I go back and show the rest of my geometry, let's go to the seat, and there we have it. Okay, so there's a connection between the metal and the wood piece. Okay, the outside is pretty simple. Just take a sphere and have that Boolean difference from the chair itself. These areas you can of course download those screws and bolts and place them there. The main topic was to show you how to generate this geometry. So let's make this one center to my viewport, and I'm going to see a different artistic mode, maybe the viewport style, and make it full screen. Now let's take my curves only. So I'm going to select the center curve, maybe put that in the curve layer, image object layer. So this is what the chair looks like. Modify stool is ready.